Okay guys, so now I want to talk to you guys about how do you scale your online course. So I get this question from so many people. They're like, Kenny, how do I get to that million, 10 million, $15 million plus mark with my online course? I want to scale. I want to be like Tony Robbins. How do I get to that massive level? And I've really kind of compiled about 5 key factors that you're going to have to take into account before you scale any type of online course. And what we're going to do is we're going to get into the first one. And the first one is going to be having a bulletproof offer. So what does that mean? So when I say having a bulletproof offer, that literally means if you have a webinar, if you have a sales page, whatever the case may be, when people go to that page, they go to that webinar, they purchase. They decide like, okay, I'm going to purchase your product. You have a consistent amount of customers, all of that good stuff. But how do you test your offer? Let's say you have an online course, it's been selling, but you're like, okay, Kenny, how do I know if I have a bulletproof offer or not? What you're going to do is if you spend at least $5,000 or upwards of $10,000 on Facebook advertising or any type of advertising, and if you're able to get between a 2.5 or a 4x return on ad spend, your offer is bulletproof. That literally is telling you that, hey, I have a great offer. The market is rewarding me for what I'm doing. You're doing an incredible job. That's when you know you have a bulletproof offer. And the way that you have to do this, you have to take it out to the masses. We can't create an online course and have it sit on the shelves. We have to take it out to the people. So you have to see what those signs are. So if you're a course creator and you want to test to see if you have a bulletproof offer, just start spending some money on advertising and see if you can literally get a 2.5 to a 4x return on ad spend. If you can, you got a bulletproof offer and you're good to go. The next thing is going to be having a great funnel. I see from so many times that most people do not have a good funnel. And the number one funnel that you want to have if you're looking to scale an online course is going to be a webinar funnel. And that's literally where you take a person to a registration page, they watch a 2-hour webinar, and at the end of that webinar, you're able to sell an online product between $1,000 to $5,000. That's what you want to do. That is the perfect funnel for you to have if you're looking to scale your online course. I honestly just haven't seen a better funnel in my history of doing this. As well, what you want to do is you have to make sure that you don't have any holes in your funnel. So what I'm saying is when people are going to the registration page and you have a 25% registration rate, how could you get that to maybe 30, 35%? Because if you can do that, that's going to lower your cost per acquisition and make you even more profitable. Let's say that you have a follow-up email sequence. Are you getting people to actually convert on that follow-up email sequence or not? Because half of your sales come from your follow-up email, okay? How about your sales page? How many people go to your sales page and actually convert? If it's below 10%, you have a real issue, okay? So it's all of these key little metrics that you can kind of plug up and put the rubber to the metal and really make sure you put the glue in to make sure that funnel is set up, it's bulletproof, and it's always a working process. We call this conversion rate optimization. But you just want to get it to a point where it's very good, it's functionable, you're getting back in sales, and it does the work and people are converting, okay? So you just want to get to that point before you can start to scale, okay? So the third thing is going to be knowing your KPI data. And I really see so many people who are starting to really try to grow their online course. They don't understand what their data is, what their numbers need to be, okay? So when you're growing an online course, your number one data point that you need to understand is what is your cost per acquisition, CPA. You have to understand what that is, because if you can't define that, you're not going to know if you can be profitable or you can't be profitable. That's your greatest indicator if you're doing a successful job, because that metric is an accumulation of how good your advertising is, how good your sales funnel is, how good is your webinar, how good is your sales page, how good is your order form. Your CPA is the biggest indicator on how well your funnel is doing, and most people don't understand what their cost per acquisition is. Some people might be spending, $5,000 and only getting $4,000 back, right? You're below, you're losing money. And if you can shore up and understand what your data needs to be, What does my cost per registration need to be? What does my cost per attendee need to be? What does my acquisition cost need to be? What is the CTR on my ads that have to be for me to be profitable? You have to know all of that small, minute information for you to be successful and for you to scale. Because at scale, margins get thinner, okay? So when you're scaling your actual business, you're spending $10,000, $5,000 a day, your ad costs start to go up. So if you don't understand your numbers and you don't understand what data you have to hit to become profitable, you're gonna have some big issues. So let me tell you a story. When I was first starting to really scale my course, I was having a lot of issues. I was spending $5,000 and I was just getting $5,000 back. And I was like, what's happening? When I was only spending like $1,000, I was making like $3,000 back. And I kept scratching my head. I'm like, dude, what can I do? And it wasn't until I said, you know what? I have a really good offer. This offer's been selling. I know it's good. People have been purchasing. I said, let me dig into this information and dig into the data. And what I did was I went back into my Facebook ad account and I looked at all of the numbers that were in my Facebook ad account when I was profitable. And the one thing that I saw was my best converting ads had a click-through rate of 3% or higher. And all of my ads that I was pushing right now only had a click-through rate of 1.5%. So what that told me is if I don't have ads that are pushing a 3% click-through rate, I'm not going to be profitable. So what I did was I literally built out a KPI sheet and I said, you know what? These are the numbers I have to hit. If I'm able to hit those numbers, then I will be profitable. And that's literally how I built the business. I went back, got those numbers, and I would turn off ads if they weren't profitable. I would do different things and make sure I was hitting those numbers because I had a goal in mind that I had to hit. And that was when I said, man, this whole entire business is just a simple math equation. And if you can focus on that, you're gonna absolutely explode, okay? So that's the third thing you have to focus on if you're looking to scale your business online with a online course, okay? So the next thing is gonna be having an advertising system. Okay, so guys, let me tell you another story. So when I started to really scale my Facebook advertising, and I was spending around $5,000, $10,000 a day, when I was normally spending around $1,000 a day, my registration costs, my cost per acquisition were extremely low. And I said, okay, everything's good. As I started to spend more and more, my costs started to get higher. And I said, damn, like, what do I have to do? You know, like what's going on? So what I started to understand was when you're spending that amount of money, there's something called ad fatigue. So think about when you watch TV and you see the same Geico commercial every single time. You don't even look at it anymore. It's just like static. It's the same thing with your advertising. When a person sees your ad over and over and over again and they don't click on it, your costs start to go up. So what we do is we call this basically ad refreshing. So what you have to do when you're starting to scale up your advertising is you have to change your creative, which is your ads, every couple days because you need new and fresh ads to get people's attention when you're spending at that scale. So you have to have an advertising system, a content system where you can churn out content every single week and you can have an inventory of content because when you're starting to scale, you have to really have an inventory of ads to constantly refresh your creative all the time. And it's so important. And if you don't have an ad inventory, your costs are going to go up. You're not going to be profitable. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, this stuff doesn't work. And that's something I had to learn. So now we have an ad system now where literally every single week, you know, my advertisers, they're writing down different ideas on videos that we can do from what they're seeing that's working on Facebook and different things like that. Then we come in and we start filming 10 to 15 different ads and we just test them and we refresh our creative all the time. Because when you're spinning at that level, you have to. A guy like Dean Graziosi, he literally records, I think he was saying 5 advertising videos every single day because literally they're moving so much weight. Guys, their free plus shipping funnel does over 8,000 books a day. So for him to be selling at that scale, he has to be spending a lot, right? And when you're spending at that level, you have to basically have new creative all the time to ensure that your ad costs don't go up, because their book is extremely cheap, right? So their margins are razor thin. So you have to really make sure that you're refreshing your creative and you're doing the right thing, okay? So that's our number 4, having a great ad system. If you guys can master those 4 things, you guys can absolutely scale to whatever level you want to get to. So let's recover them. Having a bulletproof offer, making sure you're spending between $5,000 and you have between a 2.5 and 4x ROAS. If you can hit that, you got a bulletproof offer, you're good to scale. The second thing is having a great funnel. I recommend having an automated webinar funnel, extremely important. Look for little opportunities. Are your back-end email sequences, are they converting? What's your registration percentage? Can you get that a little higher? What's your order form closing rate? Can you get that a little higher? Just see where you can get small wins, tweak them, rock it, you're gonna be ready to roll. The next thing is having great KPI data. Know your data. Know what your CPA cost is. Know what you need to get in CTRs to make sure that you could hit your numbers and do what you need to do. Extremely important. And the next thing is having an ad system, because when you're spending like a Dean Graziosi, a Tony Robbins, a Grant Cardone, who's doing $4 million a month off of info products, you have to have new and fresh creative all the time, and you got to build a system around that so you can churn those things out, so you can basically scale your business to the moon, okay? So if you guys have any questions, concerns, or anything like that on how to grow and scale a course, please DM me, let me know, and I will absolutely help you, okay?